We're going to joeblow.com. We're going to talk about the Terminator. A little bit of history with me and the Terminator. Okay, a lot of you guys, you're my age, maybe a little younger, in your 20s. I don't know where you are, but you're adults. And so when you grew up, what was your movie? What was your jam? Like, what was the biggest influence on you film-wise when you were a kid? A lot of people say Star Wars. A lot of people say Star Trek. A lot of you may say The Matrix, etc., 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 Jurassic Park. For me, it was The Terminator. The Terminator blew my mind. And, fun fact, I found my favorite film by reading the comic book first from Now Comics. Terminator number 1, I found at a grocery store. You see this theme? We've been talking about this for a while, but this is my testimony. Is it testifies to what we've been talking about. I found a licensed comic book on a newsstand, a little Rudy Poot grocery store, and it turned me onto the film. The film blew my mind. So this coming from Joe Blow. Schwarzenegger will be back in Terminator 6. Shooting begins next May. Boy, that is fast. That is really fast. Side note question, just in the comments, if you guys feel like talking a lot, were there any movies that you discovered because of the comics? I think a lot of people tend to think that the licensed comics get discovered because of the films, but I have found that Terminator and Aliens both, I watched the movies because of the books. Believe it or not, both of them obviously being James Cameron films, oddly, and James Cameron's pretty much my favorite filmmaker for the most part, especially growing up. Terminator 2 blew my mind. I can't wait for that to come out August 25th, and I'm going to see it in 3D, and I'm going to do it gleefully. So let's play catch up for just a second. For where the Terminator is at now is due to U.S. copyright law, James Cameron, which I'm very excited about this, James Cameron the rights to the Terminator are reverting back to him in 2019. He's getting them back. However, the rest of the world still belongs to David Ellison. He bought the worldwide rights to the Terminator, and he can't control the copyright. So, but without America, he's dead in the water. So he and James Cameron have been talking, and this also from Joe Blow. This is James Cameron aims to reinvent the Terminator franchise with a trilogy. Earlier this year, we heard that James Cameron was planning to get back into the Terminator game when some of the franchise rights revert to him in 2019. The copyright of it, I don't know why that's hard. Some of the franchise rights. Producing a new installment with David Ellison of Skydance Media. That he is the one who bought the rights worldwide a couple years ago and put out the widely criticized and overly criticized Terminator Genisys. I say overly criticized because the movie was well done and respectful, if not tremendously misguided in the story. But it wasn't as bad as people made it out to be. And getting someone else, possibly Deadpool's Tim Miller, to direct the film. Speaking with News.com of Australia, Cameron confirmed most of that report with no mention of Miller, and revealed that his plans for the franchise are even bigger than just one film. Cameron only wrote and directed the first two Terminators. Only? He directed the first two Terminator films and wasn't involved with the sequels that followed, but now he intends to add 3 more Terminators to his resume as a producer. This dude does not know how to make a single film anymore. He does not. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but he just thinks big. Admitting that he doesn't have a lot of respect for the films that followed his Terminators, and he's in line with most people, Cameron asks, has the franchise run its course, or can it be freshened up? Can it still have relevance now where so much of our world is catching up to what was science fiction in the first 2 films? We live in a world of predator drones and surveillance and big data and emergent AI. So I am in discussions with David Ellison, who is the current rights holder globally for the Terminator franchise, and the rights in the U.S. market revert to me under U.S. copyright law in a year and a half, so he and I are talking about what we can do. Right now, we are leaning toward doing a 3-film arc and reinventing it. Ooh, that's exciting. If anybody can reinvent the Terminator, it's the guy that came up with the Terminator. Cameron notes that this project isn't at a point where it can be officially announced because there are still some issues to work through or hurdles to clear before the deal is closed. So that's where we were as of July 24th. So a mere, 3 weeks later, Schwarzenegger will be back in Terminator 6. Shooting begins next May. I think it's funny how they're calling it Terminator 6. So it's like, yeah, anyway, let me read the article here before I speculate anything. It was only a week ago we shared with you guys the awesome news that mega director James Cameron was getting the rights back to the Terminator franchise and is looking to make an all-new trilogy. They apparently don't look at their dates very closely. If that news wasn't cool enough, today we have word via the ex-Governor himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger, that not only will he be returning to his role as the Terminator in Cameron's new film as producer, Cameron is the producer, but that the new entry in the series will begin shooting next May. I mean, that is a huge, huge deal. That happened so fast. I mean, Ellison clearly is wanting to capitalize on this major investment that he has made because he lost his ass on Terminator Genesis. I mean, they're lucky if they've broken even by now. So that's not surprising, but it is surprising because even for me, it's just really fast. So in March next year, I am shooting Terminator 6. James Cameron and David Ellison are back on board, and then comes a Conan. Yep, you read that right. Arnold also just confirmed that he will be returning as Conan as well. Too much cool info. Too much cool info for one short-ass sentence there, Schwarzenegger. Anyhow, I know what you're thinking. We've heard all this before. Sure, I get you. But it seems to be the Terminator 6 now news is legit as legit gets, and call me an eternal optimist, but I think that Arnold will return for King Conan. This is Joe Blow talking here. So we have Conan news and Terminator news. Now, calling it Terminator 6, that gives me pause. I don't know if they're doing that officially, to keep people from being confused, but they're not calling it a reboot, so clearly it's a sequel. Schwarzenegger's coming back. He's still the Terminator. Will it have to be motion capture? Who knows? Will it actually, I don't know, acknowledge that Terminator Genesis exists? I don't know. It's curious, but the thing is, I trust Cameron. Cameron is smart. Cameron is a fantastic filmmaker. Cameron has written and directed, I might add, the two highest grossing films of all time. That would be Titanic and Avatar, in case you didn't know. Flip-flop that to get the correct order. As well as the first two Terminator films, as well as Aliens, as well as The Abyss. I mean, the dude has done some great work. He's a fantastic filmmaker, and I'm really excited about this. So, I don't know how I feel about Tim Miller. Tim Miller is very capable. He was really sharp on the first Deadpool. But, you know what? He would do a good job. Do I think there's better out there? Sure. Probably. But he would be a good pick. So me being a huge Terminator fan, and this being my favorite movie of all time growing up, the first two films, I'm very excited about this. Seeing Cameron return to the franchise is great. I totally look forward to it. Post your comments down below, guys. What do you think about this? Are you excited? Do you care less? Do you think that it's done? Or was it done until Cameron got involved? And then we have Cameron making Avatar, 2 through 800 currently. And I don't think he's ever going to stop. But now he's got two franchises boiling over. And I don't know. I trust him. He's always proven himself to be a stickler for, kind of a perfectionist, and I think that he'll do great. What do you guys think? Post your comments down below. I appreciate you as always. This is going to wrap it up for the day, guys. This is going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your suggestions. Do you have anything you want me to talk about in future videos? Did I miss anything? Your thoughts are always welcome. They are appreciated. Whether or not you agree with me, I do read all your comments. Whether or not I can ever acknowledge that sometimes, aside. But I will comment when I can. I do read them all. I do take them into consideration. And some of your thoughts are way better than my thoughts. And articulated in a much finer fashion. But thank you guys for listening. I really appreciate you hanging out with me for a little bit. And if you're new here, I appreciate you listening. Please like, share, and subscribe. And hit the notification bell when you subscribe to make sure that you are notified of future videos. Let me know if you want to see me on VidMe, because VidMe, maybe I can do some special videos. Some of those 85,000 hour, 45-second long videos. I can do more of those over there. I don't know. What do you guys think? If you're open for this? And I am working on getting this podcast officially on iTunes. I figure I've put this off long enough. I imagine that the podcast will be available on iTunes, and I will let you know as soon as that drops. In the meantime, you can join me on Twitter at Eric Talks, Eric_Talks, and on Facebook, facebook.com/GM blah freaking blah. And are there any other places that you guys would like to see blah freaking blah have a presence? If you guys want to chat, I love chatting with you right here. In the comments section, but let me know if there's somewhere else that you would like to see me have more of a presence. But anyway, guys, that's it for the day. Like I said, thank you. You're awesome. I appreciate you. I look forward to hearing your thoughts on all these things, and I will see you guys on the next one.